Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the price of Bitcoin and the importance of April 2nd because we're going to be getting a bunch of tariffs from the United States of America on the 2nd of April. And if you guys are not familiar, the S&P 500, the price of Bitcoin, they've all been dropping pretty consistently over the past few days due to the tariff situation with President Trump implementing new tariff policy. Now, whether if that's a good thing or bad thing overall for the US economy, there's a lot of controversy. There's a lot of debate. If you haven't watched this podcast, I want to show you this podcast. If you go to YouTube, search All In Podcast. All In Podcast. Let's have a look. So All In Podcast. You can see that this is a podcast run by David Sachs, AI and Crypto Czar, Chamath, and two other guys who I'm not entirely familiar of what they do, but they're very successful entrepreneurs. So if you go here and if you go to the full episode section and watch the latest one with Howard Lutnick, you're going to be shocked. So under videos, Howard Lutnick, there you go, this one. It's incredible, 1 hour, 44 minutes long. But if you're concerned about the tariff situation, and if you don't understand why it's being done, obviously there is two sides of the story when there's a lot of people worrying about the tariffs and don't think that overall it's going to be a good thing and it will negatively impact the US economy. Even though you have this $1.8 trillion of foreign direct investment, and even the UAE actually did another almost $2 trillion on top of that just a couple of days ago. Even if you're seeing all this direct investment into the US, the implementation of that capital to turn into factories, to turn into employment, to turn into manufacturing is a long process. There is no doubt that it will be incredible given the fact that US consumption per capita in dollar-denominated terms is the highest in the world. Out of $27 trillion GDP, 18 trillion of it is consumption within the US. The second largest consumer country is China, but that is 9 trillion, almost a $10 trillion difference. So if the United States of America can produce more of its goods locally and domestically and sell that to its consumers, it will be unbelievable for the economy. And I think they will definitely have a very good chance of balancing the budget. So long term, if it's done properly, I think it's going to be incredible for America's economy specifically, and terrible for the rest of the world because America imports a lot of things. So as soon as they apply tariffs on that, just like they did between the 1880s to the First World War, where tariffing was how they made a lot of their income, and they had to go away from that because of multiple different things. I don't want to give a history lesson in this video. If you're interested, I would definitely recommend, you can even use Grok and use their deep research tool to allow it to teach you why and when things happened. But if they do it properly, then I think over the longer term, the US will make a bunch of money and retain their position as the reserve country. So yeah, in the long term, it's good. But the main concern comes into play when you look into the short-term analysis. The short-term, S&P looks like a bit of a bearish flag, to be honest with you. And Bitcoin is creating a little bit of a ascending triangle, but you can also interpret it as a bear flag in the same similar sense as well. And I think everybody's concerned for April the 2nd and all the tariffs that we're going to be getting on April the 2nd. So aluminum, goods not meeting the USMCA rules, energy products not covered by USMCA, potash, goods not meeting USMCA rules again. That's specifically for Mexico. The others were Canada. And then all existing imports on China, an additional 20% on top of the current existing tariffs too. So a bunch of things will receive tariffs, and there's an expectation that on April the 2nd specifically, we can have a continuation of that crash. So everybody's a little bit uncertain. Yes, we have, if you put on the global M2 money supply switch to the daily time frame, that's the only sort of bullish picture you have where, okay, we have like a 70 to 100 day lag and we should be going up anytime soon. The most conservative one, and I like to go with the most conservative option. So let's put the 109 day one. This is the most conservative prediction for where Bitcoin can go. That means you have another 2 months of consolidation. But if you break off from this downtrend and you dip to the $60,000 range, then obviously that's breaking off from the global liquidity correlation that Bitcoin has been producing for the past, since its existence. So there's a lot of question marks, a lot of people worrying, and it's normal to worry in this market. But the truth is, you have a bullish divergence. The United States of America is going to be buying Bitcoin actively within the next 2 months. So even if that is a bear flag, and even if you do see a break to the downside, and even on April 2nd, after the tariff implementations, even if Bitcoin comes crashing down to the lower 70s and tests the prior resistance or the prior all-time high created back in March of 2024, then so be it. It's not a terrible situation, but I'm making this video to tell you that that is a dramatic possibility, that Bitcoin doesn't end up going into the 70s. It is definitely possible, but doesn't mean that I'm stopping to accumulate and buying Bitcoin. No, I'm buying more Bitcoin than ever before. And it's not just me, it's also Michael Saylor that's also going to be buying Bitcoin tomorrow. And that is why even if you drop, it's perfectly fine. We're in buy the dip, buy as much Bitcoin as possible phase. The point of which where I'm going to be going into long positions again, because I've not been entering long positions in a long time, relative to time in crypto markets. It will be when Bitcoin is able to break above that trend line on the daily time frame. And since until that happens, I'm basically breaking off from opening long positions, and I want to see a confirmation of trend, flipping the bearish trend on the daily time frame to jump back into longs again. But until then, I'm not shorting. I'm just buying Bitcoin as proactively as possible. There was an interesting chart. I don't think I bookmarked it. Bitcoin price inflation adjusted. So if you go to the inflation adjusted chart and find it on Twitter, let's see if I can find it. It was a beautiful chart. So what it was basically when you apply the nominal value, the dollar value of Bitcoin, and adjust it to inflation. I don't know exactly how they do the mathematics, but basically the chart indicates that the price is actually around here in the $72,000 region. I believe there's a way we can check it ourselves. So if we go to inflationtool.com and go to, well, now the price is, let's go to $69,000 2021 and see what that would equate to today. Remember, half of the money printed across the world has happened in the past 4 years. So let's see what the price will give us. $81,000, there you go. So it does make sense. The price of Bitcoin today, right now, is basically the exact same as it was back in November 2021 in the previous bull market when you adjusted for inflation. So when you want to be buying Bitcoin today, or if you're considering, or if you think it's too expensive, just understand it's basically the same amount of money was in 2021. And you have all the developments that you've seen in the past few months, past 3 years, all the bullishness, all the bullish legislation, all the bullish presidential stuff. And there's going to be a conference in DC in 3 days' time with a bunch of senators and a bunch of Congress people. So there's so much innovation, so much new sorts of adoption, sorts of new sorts of institutional capital flowing into this product. And you're buying it for the exact same price as it was 3 to 4 years ago when none of that existed. So that's how you should approach your Bitcoin purchase. But with that said, guys, we are going to be seeing a break very, very soon if we jump back into x.com. So there is that ascending triangle, and we are at the point of which we should be seeing that breakout anytime soon. I said in the next 24 hours, and it should be maximum in the next 24 hours. Whether it's to the upwards or downwards direction, I can't tell you 100%. And when I'm not sure, I'm going to tell you when I'm not sure. So I'm not going to say anything that I don't think or will not happen. We did have a fake out to the upside last week, and usually, statistically speaking, Bitcoin tends to see a break to the upside more it does to the downside with these ascending triangles if it's forming on a bottoming of a downwards trend. However, at this point, it could go anyway. So we will find out together. We will stream it live on the Moonshow channel as we always do. And as soon as we're breaking either to the up or downside, I'll be sharing my feedback with you here on the channel. But I would just be careful next 7 days, tariff implementations. I would be a little bit more careful, a bit more cautious with the market than usual. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Have a fantastic rest of your Sunday. And as always, guys, I'll see you all back on Monday, which is tomorrow. So take care and bye-bye.